I hate long explanations, so here goes. Players 8 means the game pretends it's full. Monsters have 450% health and give 450% experience. They drop more items. They deal 43.75% more damage. You can only use this in single player. With the run being at 4.5 times the difficulty from usual, I should play an actual build instead of just memeing about. So I picked the sorceress to start the run, which I did on hardcore by the way. Just saying, totally won't be relevant ever. In Resurrected, you can just up the players count in the options menu, so that is what I do. And with that I head out of the Blood Moor, to see if I will seize this opportunity or if I will lose myself. The run starts off with looking for a 2-socket armor. It takes a couple of drops, but I find a leather armor with 2 sockets from a shaman. For my starting build I decide to go into the lightning skill tree for the charge bolt skill. I like this skill the most out of the level 1 skills, but I won't be using it for too long. My runs usually start out on players 8 to speed up the boring part of the early game, so in the beginning not much is different. I carve a path towards some levels in the stony field, almost get charge bolted right back from Rakanishu, nothing wrong so far. And just for plausible deniability, I'm not going to mention that I went down to 2 health here. One of the easiest ways to get extra plus to skills for a sorceress is to look at Akara's inventory. In there I find a +1 to charge bolt staff, granting me some more damage, and a 2-socket staff that I'm going to be using once I get the runes for the leaf runeword. At level 6 I put a point into static field, cause when you're doing a serious run, you need the good stuff. This skill does a percentage based amount of damage, all the way down to 1% for a quick and easy finish. It does get nerfed a bit in Nightmare and Hell, however it's still too strong for its own good. I mean, I've banned this skill from runs before, it's that good. With my newfound power, I make my way into the underground passage, where the Misshapen very quickly decide to remind me that this is their turf, and that I am trespassing on their territory. Instead of pushing on, I decide to make my way back to the stony fields to level up some more before trying to make my way into the undergrounds again. I also went ahead and jammed some rocks into the holes of a beanie. I don't get why that works, but in Sanctuary it does. Good thing too, cause during the leveling I drop back down to 13 again, and seeing how it isn't Wednesday, I don't want anything to do with that. At level 12, Nova unlocks. This skill draws a burning ring of lightning around you, where the sparks get higher. All kidding aside, 1 to 26 damage isn't too bad at all. The downside to creating this Art Nova is that you need a lot of mana potions to keep things going. My personal suggestion, just fill up every slot you have and sip on it like you're nursing something delicious. The second attempt through the passage went perfectly fine if you ignore how much of the fucking map I went through, cause I missed the exit to the right towards where I needed to go. I can't worry about that too long though. Treehead Spawn Camper and his friends are waiting for me to spawn into the map and straight into their ambush. Using static to drop monster health to 1 HP and then following it up with a Nova. All the way while traveling I pick off random boss packs for some easy experience. Before heading towards the Countess I also remembered to clear out the den, so I give Corpse Fire a moment of my time and change him into Pulp. In the Tower Cellar level 5 the Countess resides. She seems cute and all, but I'm just here for the runes. I want a Tal, an Ed for a stealth and a Tyr and a Ral for a leaf. During my runs to get these, I also picked up a 10 faster cast rate ring, which is a nice piece of starting gear for the early game. It took a few more runs and completed my stealth. There are some mods on it, but it's all for the faster cast rate. With my rune set completed, I picked up the hammer before getting to level 19 in the catacombs. 19 is the most important number, not just because it makes you 18 plus and allowing you to make all sorts of dumb decisions all by yourself, but it allows you to leave all your troubles far behind you. I can explain what this thing does in excruciating detail, but the first line of blue text leaves nothing to the imagination. Plus, 3 to fire skills is nothing to scoff at. To use this power I have to go and ask Akara nicely if I can get a mulligan on my stats and skills, which she allows me to do. Static field is broken, so I'm keeping that. The rest of my skills go into Fireball and its synergy Firebolt. I forgot to go into Teleport, which was of course totally on purpose cause I have mad skills. Fireball is a very strong skill, as you can tell from Andariel doing her best impression of it towards the sky. Act 2 starts off with hiring Asap and giving him a couple pieces of gear so he can join along for the adventure. In the sewers, Static and Fireball make short work of Rediment for the Book of Skill. Some beetles in the rocky wastes get me the extra level up I need to get Teleport, a skill that I'm pretty sure does not need an introduction. Being able to just watch and wave at the vipers in their own temple after teleporting up the stairs they can't get up to just never gets old. During the picking up of the Heradric Cube a set amulet drops, which turns out to be a Cathan's amulet, which isn't useful at all. Funnily enough, in the palace cellar I found the set Chainmail, which is Cathan's armor, but not even the combo of the two set items is getting me anything I want. The Arcane Sanctuary is a return to tradition. I always 4th way this, unless I have teleport, cause then I 1st way it, so I deal with the summoner, and make my way towards the Curb Stomper 9000 known as Duriel. That is, if I don't die trying to even get to him. Before getting into the fight to the death with the true Lord of Destruction, I visit Lysander for some thawing potions, cause while those won't stop the Holy Freeze aura, they will help with the cold damage. Straight into the fight, I start running, not teleporting, running around while staticking him, and once he hits the brink of death, I start throwing fireballs until he goes down. In the Spider Forest, I pick up the Jade figurine from a Thorned Hulk. The cavern is filled to the brim with everybody's favorite arachnids, which I managed to clear out with just a few fireballs. However, I run into a wall. There are two options I have here. I can either run around and do the safe thing and work my way around and clear out the spiders one by one. But let's be honest, it's just one cursed extra strong spider at the other side of the wall, and it would save me all of 2 minutes to just teleport in blindly. Life is short, so I TP straight into, make sure it stays that way while swinging statics all the way to the bank to decimate the spiders. To at least attempt to prolong my life for a few more acts, I need some more gear, so I decide to go gambling for boots and a belt. I almost get stood up at the git bin, but my date turns out to be on the other side of the corner. Level 24 allows me to get into Meteor. Just like every other spell in Diablo 2, this spell is aptly named, as it tosses a giant meteor from the sky onto your enemy, allowing you to wish your enemies sweet dreams from afar. The magic finding boots I just gambled start paying off immediately when in the lower Kurast I find the boots I need for my next video, but I'll wear them for now as well, cause the Ysarus boots have 25 fire resistance, which is always nice to have. Returning the git bin to its rightful Ormus nets me a ring with 6% lightning and 27% cold resist. This makes the cold resist look good, but the lightning resist could definitely use some help. Thanks to the power of static, the console isn't too bad at all, so I cast it a few times, followed up by a couple of fireballs to the face and grabbed the flail. For the Mephisto fight, I have an admission to make, a conundrum to admit if you will. There is a famous trick in the game where you lure Mephisto to the moat, just as aptly named as every skill in the game. This is called the moat trick, where you use attacks that have more range than Mephisto's to just kill him while he's defenseless, cause beating up someone who isn't fighting back is much easier after all. Unfortunately, this doesn't work on console. The auto-aim has the same distance for both monsters and players. I know, it's truly heinous, but this is why I never do the moat trick, cause I can't do it on console. Also, cause after 21,000 hours in this godforsaken game, I can just do the fight hitless anyway, but that's not the point. So while I think about all the things I could have done with those hours, a complete university level education, grind out a career or have the body of a god, instead, I am really good at killing Mephisto. Honestly, I think I made the right choice. That other shit sucks anyway. Speaking about things burning, the Plains of Despair greet me with a nice cup of souls. But because I am a pyromancer, I can just solve my problems by making the word burning in their name a lot more true than they would like. I can also just ignore my problems, which is what I did when I got bored of fighting the souls. Iswal has a percentage of life, so static is the bane of his existence. The unique flail he drops is amazing. It's the General's Jade Tando Liga. This weapon, like me, has 50% slow, making it a member of a very elite club of unique weapons that completely break the game. But this is a melee weapon, and I said at the start of the video that I was going to play an actual build. The Hellforge never drops me enough runes. Those two flawless rubies however do catch my eyes. A 62 extra life helm? Don't mind if I do. In the Chaos Sanctuary, I end up finding an insane amulet, 47 life and 11 resist all. With this much life on my gear, it almost feels like I'm respecting the game. So while it feels wrong, I also kinda like it. Working my way through the Chaos Sanctuary, the Grand Vizier of Chaos pops up. And what's this? What's this? There's something very wrong. What's this? There are monsters fire immune. What's this? The sanctuary is lined with little creatures laughing. They all seem so happy. Good thing Asab can still go steppy. Well, against the Gloams he can. He doesn't do as well against the Venom Lords. After his demise, I have to lure them towards the only choke point in the sanctuary, the outer ends of the pentagram. From there, I can just take them down one by one. One thing I know I can do is gaslight you into thinking the Diablo fight was really hard. I can talk about how throughout his burning ring of fire and his charging at me, the fight was equal to Gandalf fighting the Balrog. But let's instead treat each other with the proper respect here. I static the snot out of him, grabbed the experience shrine I kept around, cause I can't resist that juicy experience, ran back up to him, finished the job and moved on with my life. That huge chunk of XP gets me to level 30, on which the 1 point into Fire Mastery combined with the +3 skills from the Leaf runeword nets me 50% extra damage. Seems worth it to me. In the Bloody Foothills, Shank eats a meteor. Eldritch does as well, but at least he's nice about costing me mana and repays me with a ring. This rare ring has a couple of stats, but more importantly, it has 10 cold, 13 lightning and 12 poison resist. It's a good thing I'm going to try to do the other difficulties as well, cause this ring is perfect for Mephisto. A couple runs later, my faith in my build gets tested as a unique blade drops to the floor. This is the Spectral Shard, and despite it being named after a little brown accident, this weapon is no joke. This is the earliest way in the game to get 50% faster cast rate from a weapon. If it wasn't clear yet, that is a lot. I would love to use this on a run where I needed faster cast rate. Meteor has a delay on its casting, cause only assassins are allowed to spam the skill every second. On a sorceress, that would be much too broken, so while I love this weapon, it's no good for this build. The reason I was even grinding Eldritch was to get my cold skill tree up to snuff, and while I said I was going to play a real build, I was feeling old school, so I decided to go for the 2005 classic, the Mediop Sorceress. Frozen Orb has AoE, doesn't require a lot of points to be good and doesn't get to use faster cast rate either. It's a match made in heaven. Along the way I found a couple of topazes as well, and I'm playing a sorceress. Now once again I can make good decisions, I can also get that epic loot. As expected, as soon as I equip the magic find, the cool items stop dropping. That is, until I find an odd rune. I'm always happy to find those. They go in tons of rune words and worst case scenario give you 30 lightning resist. It's followed up by a rare heavy belt with 10 faster hit recovery, 10 life and 10 poison resist. I give it a 10 out of 10 rating. While I will never go on Twitch, cause everyone I know associates it with people gibbering or screaming at microphones and promoting racism and terrorism, which causes my peer pressure gland to overload. The Twitch throw is a solid armor for a mercenary thanks to its 20% increased attack speed. The Crystalline Passage is a weird place, cause while the temperatures are below zero, the cows in this zone are still moving and hitting pretty damn hard. But being the good Samaritan that I am, I can fix that problem for the low price of a tool rune. If you have ever seen any other of my other videos or have seen me stream, you know that I think that shields in ARPGs are for cowards. But with the game being at 4.5 times the regular difficulty, concessions have to be made. So I make an Ancient's Pledge into a gothic shield I picked up somewhere along the way. For those that have never watched me before, hello there, excellent video choice for today, and thank you for staying around this long. As for your potential questions, no, the jokes don't get any better, and the subscribe button is right below the video. Please click on it, so I can make more money with these videos. Another tool rune drops in the Frozen Tundra. With this luck, surely the game will drop me an M rune soon, and I get my spirit nice and early. I'm almost there after all. The Ancients are weak to lightning, cold and fire. I have all of those, so they die. Another fire immune joins the fray with Colenso the Annihilator, but thanks to Frozen Orb I can send him straight back to Alice in Hell. Speaking about Canadian bands, I have still never made a joke about my all-time favorite band, but I am a strapping young lad, so I'm sure I can fix that somewhere along this video. Moving things along, I have been waking the fury of Lister the Tormentor, but Asap does an excellent job keeping the Skeksis off my back, allowing me to toss frozen orbs at them. While Baal looks like an off-center alien, just like everything else he goes down to static and a light smothering of frozen orbs. Normally at this point of the game I am about level 25, maybe 30, but Players 8 grants you 450% extra experience, so I'm at level 41. Normally this is where I quit farming the Countess in Nightmare out of frustration, but here we are. Speaking about Nightmare, let's get into it. Our venture into the new difficulty starts out with the Den of Evil, where much to my dismay, things are already not dying in one hit anymore. But this time I do get to actually kill Rakanishu instead of just his minions. Arriving in my new home, the Black Marsh, the game tries to speedrun the end of the video by killing me right here, right now, but it's not my time yet. Normally I wouldn't even bother showing, but I know people like this stuff, so I go and save Gain. But the rewarded ring is utter garbage, so I'm going to move along towards the Countess. Remember how earlier in the run I talked about how most of the time it is better for your drops to have the game on Players 8 mode? Well, the Countess is the exception to that. When you're playing the normal game mode, Players 1 every monster has a no drop item roll, which is when a monster doesn't drop any items at all. Players 8 reduces the odds of these rolls, which is why more items drop on Players 8. However, the Countess no drop rolls are replaced with run drops, which is why she is such a rune dropping machine. But because of players 8, she doesn't roll the no drop rolls nearly as often, which makes it so that she drops less runes when you crank it up to max like we have now. And the more perceptive people in the audience will have figured out by now why I am explaining this right now, cause on the screen you can see me farming the Countess until basically the heat death of the universe. I was so close to completing my spirit in Act 5 normal, all I needed was an Am rune. I also want a soul rune for a lore, which I would normally skip at this point, but I can't afford to do that with everything at max difficulty all the time. Usually this takes about 3 to 5 runs, 10 on a bad day, and we all know I'm leading up to this question, so let's ask it. How long did it take me on this run? Well, long enough to even find a Ko rune before finding my desired Am rune. I don't know the exact number of runs, but I had almost 4 hours of farming recorded by the time I finally had the greatest run of the set. Tons of rares for new gear, and the Am rune drop. RNG is a fickle mistress, but she can be very nice. The Soul rune dropped the very next run to get me the hell out of here. At least this saves me a ton of grinding, cause I've never in my life been level 51 before leaving the Nightmare Countess before. With my runes finally complete, I can take the broadsword I found at Eldritch to Larzuk to get the 4 sockets, which allows me to put in the spirit runeword. This runeword has all sorts of irrelevant mods like elemental damage and life leech. But between the 2 skills, 55 faster hit recovery, 22 vitality, 94 mana and 6 magic absorb, I'm already very happy. The faster cast rate can roll from 25 to 35, so 27 is on the lower end of that, but that's okay. Both Meteor and Frozen Orb have casting delay anyway, so it's not like I could make them go any faster if I wanted to. The Soul rune is for the lore runeword. This has +1 to skills, 30 lightning resist and other stuff that no one truly cares about. In the barracks I deal with the smith and grab the hammer. A shaman in the catacombs drops me a 4-socket flail, between the Ko rune, the pile of Thul runes I found while grinding and this base. I am starting to believe in the heart of the oaks. I run around a bit on level 4 while the bare naked lady follows me around until she drops unique demon hide boots. These are okay thanks to their 30% fire resist, but nothing too special. A quick visit to the sewers ends with me blueballing Radamon to death for the Book of Skill, which is followed up by hiring a new mercenary, because Hassan has a very sexy Holy Freeze aura. He starts his venture on the team by getting a new weapon dropped for him in the desert. Steel Goat isn't very good or anything, but it's better than the random rare scythe he was using. Coldworm the Burrower is cold and fire immune, which is mean, but that's what mercenaries are for. The second time around laughing at Fangskin from up the stairs is still funny. First ways are the way of life for the teleporting character that doesn't give 2 craps about if it takes 15 or 30 seconds to teleport to the exit. It always makes me feel so nice to get reminded on what could have been on every melee run ever. Just like on normal, the Duriel fight is a matter of watching the mercenary die a quick death so you can static. The rest of the fight is just me running around throwing frozen orbs at him. Just like in normal, you don't want to teleport here unless you know exactly where you can teleport, cause they disable teleport in a part of this arena. Why did they do that, you ask? Well, because in the earliest versions of the game you could just teleport towards Tal Rasha, and it was a very bad time for game and quest breaking. Duriel always dropping town portals is a direct result of that as well, because there were problems with the wall and you could get stuck here being forced to leave the game and beat him again if you wanted to move on to Act 3. His drops are amazing for a melee character. An Angelic Amulet, which is the hardest part of the famous Angelic combo to get. The Angelic Armor, for memes mostly cause it's terrible. And a Heart Carver. I don't know why, but I want to do a Frenzy Dagger Barb and a Poison Dagger Necro with this. I can't explain it, but I just think this item is so cool. A plethora of skills, tons of enhanced damage, flat damage, ignore target's defense and deadly strike. I'm guessing this thing hits like a truck and I always love finding it even though I never end up using it. Obviously take the most intense way through the forest and the jungle, clearing out every single monster in there like everyone does on a sorceress. This time around, Sark drops me the Jade figurine for the 20 life, which I kind of desperately need, cause 700 is not a lot for this part of the game. I fight Ivan Ooze for the Git bin, and as a reward for my victory I get a 20 lightning resist ring, which is fine, just fine, nothing special. The Flayer jungle, I don't know what to tell you about this, cause I cleared the entire dungeon in 30 seconds. It's just the sorcerer's way of life after all, to ignore the entire game and just blitz through. It's just so safe and easy that nothing could ever go wrong. In the ruined temple, I pick up Lamb Essence Tome for the 5 stats it gives you. Dolls are a lot less of a problem as well, when you can just teleport away and use ranged attacks on them. Apparently the bats in the sewers wear shoes, cause they drop a pair of greaves. followed up with some demon hide gloves from a chest. This run would be zooming if I was playing a melee character, cause these are Tear Haunch with all resist and stats and venom grips with poison damage, life leech and crushing blow. Very decent items, but intended for melee characters, which makes them useless for this run. I mean, you could make an argument for the boots, but the strength requirement on them is so high at 70 that I personally don't like going for it unless I have a spirited reason to do so. The council isn't very hard the second time around either. Hassin is easily able to tank them one at a time thanks to his Holy Freeze aura and my frozen orb, allowing me to pick up the flail. Clearing out the rest of the way through is a different story though. Hassin is not used to getting tag teamed like I am, so he has to admit defeat while I work my way through them. At the end of the Durance, the Mephisto fighter waits. He tosses some lightning my way, but with the resists being basically maxed for Nightmare, I have no problem making my way through the fight. Act 4 is where the game truly devolves into just picking the easy boss fights for experience and quest rewards. Some Venom Lords are easily farmable, so I clear them out, and Azuel's 2 skill points are always worth it, so I deal with him as well. Mephisto comes in ready and swinging, but all I can say about it is next time Mr. Fastos, next time. A pull rune drops from the Hellforge. Now game, don't tease me any longer, grant me my Heart of the Oak or grant me death. A rare swirling crystal drops in the Chaos Sanctuary. I don't know why the game is teasing me like this. While the Oculus is one of the most divisive weapons in the game, all I can say is that it is awesome and that randomly getting teleported into death is just a part of life. Honestly though, I can't even remember dying to the random teleport ever. It's such a non-issue on an amazing weapon. For the Lord to Say's fight, the best thing I can recommend is to learn how to get him stuck. He's basically free once you do that. The power of Chill and Cold combine once more in the fight against the Venom Lords, this time allowing Hassin to tank them without any problems. There is a lot of static on the line against Diablo, but he gets his own message across when he decides to effectively static me back. But well, I have teleporter, so I can move away for free. The rest of the fight takes a couple of frozen orbs and Diablo deciding to stay put in the Meteor's residual fire damage. The kite shield he drops is a Steel Clash, an amazing level 17 shield even if you're not a paladin, but this run is way past that point, so no use for it now. Gee, the Bloody Foothills are my favorite area ever, so I decide to give them the playthrough they deserve, meaning that I pick off the easy deck Farron fight and teleport myself all the way through up to Shank so I can deal with him as well. No need to grind Eldritch this time around, cause I was already at entering hell levels after the Countess, so I can just follow it up by saving everything and everyone in the game. Seriously, Act 5 is just save the village, save the barbs and save the only woman below 100 years old in the town. It's a good thing that between the Socket quest, the Ancients Pledge Runes and the 10 Resist All and Pindle Portal, the rewards are very worth it, cause otherwise no one would ever bother with any of it. To prepare for the Ancients, I ransack my potion reserve, cause while normally they aren't very scary on Nightmare, with the Player's 8 going on, I'm pretty nervous about this one. I shouldn't have been though. The usual strat of just splitting them up and fighting them in a fair 2-on-1 works perfectly fine. It just takes a bit longer due to the 450% health of the Ancients themselves. The second half of the fight does turn into a 2 versus 2, but they can never catch up with me teleporting around, so I can just throw orbs at, do whatever I want to them. Talik ends up being the last man standing, but he can't even come close to hitting me. Teleporting is always completely free, as demonstrated here in the Worldstone, keep by my life total randomly dropping by half, and on the second floor me randomly teleporting exactly into a bunch of souls that think I have all their answers. The Baal waves are very tanky at this point, which is a very worrying sign for Hell, cause my damage is getting to its limit. But if there is something I'm good at, it's just grinding something into absolute paste until it goes the way I want it to, so while it takes a couple of minutes per Baal wave. The one other thing I have to comment on is just how smooth the Lister fight went. I was expecting it to go hard and heavy like a really heavy thing, but it wasn't the shitstorm I expected it to be at all. Baal just stands around taking frozen orbs, so while he is extremely tanky, it's not much of a fight, and more importantly, a couple minutes after his death, the Durance of Hate is terrorized. I mean, I am playing a sorceress, so how could I not? Time to farm some Mephisto. The hour of running him starts off with a Great Maul, the best melee weapon in the game for single stat runs thanks to its minus 50% requirements, crap ton of damage and increased attack speed. Even the extra stamina is very welcome on those. The biggest upgrades of this farming session are for Hassin. They start off with a unique War Spear. While this weapon is nothing special on its own, it's a decent enough halfway point and way better than the Steel Goat he was using. Next up, we all know them, we all wear them. It's the unique battle boots. War traps have magic find and other text, but with the stats and damage, these are way better for melee characters. Cause I'm not going up to 95 strength, they can roll up to 50% magic find, so at 37% these aren't worth it at all. A helm that is always worth it, however, is the unique Grim helm. The Vampire Gaze has cold damage, life leech and physical damage reduction. In my opinion, it's the best melee helm in the game for hardcore, so Hassin can have a ball with it, cause surely he will survive things now without any hiccups or problems whatsoever. The final drops are a Defender and a Grim Wand. Ume's Lament is very obviously intended for necromancers, which we aren't. The Viscerant is a sorcerer's shield, but it just has nothing going on except for a high base block, which I don't care about in the slightest, and the +1 to sorceress skills. But I'm not taking that over the 48 resist all the Ancients pledge is giving me. It's not even a close decision. I decide to go and hang out in the Tristram Terror Town as well, where a 4-socket poleaxe drops to the floor. It's not much, but it'll do as an inside base, so I end up putting the runeword in, but this definitely needs to get upgraded at some point. For now though, the level 17 meditation aura grants me effectively infinite mana, which is just a huge quality of life upgrade. For additional farming, I decide to make myself a 3 topaz helm as well, getting me up to 167% magic find. I'm rewarded for my choices before even reaching the terror zone, as Rakanishu drops a unique amulet. It turns out to be a Nokozan relic, and while a lot of people will probably think this is a pretty shitty early game amulet, it does have 50% fire resist, which is just a fucking nuts amount. Hassin is still wearing the Twitch throw, so I decide to use my Ko-rune to make a hustle in a bone weave I found. 40% increased attack speed, plus 6 to evade and 10 resist all isn't the greatest armor on the planet or anything, but this game is all about incremental upgrades, and this is nothing if not that. I'm also not too worried about losing the Ko-rune for the Heart of the Oak. I'm sure I'll find another one of those before I grind the Vex out. At level 71, it's time to go into hell. So let's see what we are working with here. 953 life is definitely on the low end. The resistances, however, are amazing. Poison being the lowest at 46% is phenomenal. What is not worth writing home about though is the damage. It's fallen off hard at this point. Even working my way through the den of evil is just a grind. Every single pack of even normal enemies is now a fight to the death. Well, for Hassin at least. I would never die of course, but everything in here needs to get split up into groups of cold and fire immunes and dealt with accordingly. Corpse Fire takes more meteors than the dinosaurs ever did, but in the end he goes down as well. Thanks to playing on Players 8, I have way more gems than I'm used to, and as always I am still looking to improve on my gear, so I decide to do some crafting. I go for a couple belts and a ring, but none of them end up even close to the level of gear I'm using. I did equip the sharkskin belt for the life, but looking back at this while editing, I don't get why I did that. It seems like a big downgrade. Oh well, everyone makes mistakes. The onslaught of melee weapons I would love to use continues on with a Bone Snap, a perfect strength requirement, tons of damage, crushing blow and dual resists. This thing is amazing, and I have cleared the game a bunch of times with this, but alas, I am still not doing a melee run. Dodge the spawn campers like they dodge my meteors, grab the scroll, save the old man, get a bad ring again. You know, just the usual. In the barracks I let Hassin tank the smith while the meteors nibble away at his life total. The smiths, I mean, not Hassin's. I almost die in the most practical place ever, cause in the catacombs level 2 my life total gets decimated to just a sliver of its former glory, which would save the burial a lot of moving my corpse around, but I'd rather not die yet. For the Andariel fight I watch Hassin die, then grab my magic finding gear from my stash, cause I just can't help myself and start covering the floor in meteors. At this point I'm just aiming at the floor, cause I'm definitely not hitting anything that moves with it. As a reward for me massively improving my risk by wearing the magic finding gear, she drops nothing relevant. In the Claw Viper Temple, the wheels are really starting to fall off. Even a single hit while teleporting around takes half my life total. The Frozen Orb skill is just tailor-made for the Maggot Lair. Everything lines up and takes a ton of damage from it. The mosquitoes in here drop me a Lem rune for my troubles. Despite the great rewards, I decide to teleport through the rest of it, cause I can. Anyone want to take a guess how many exits I needed to check in the Arcane Sanctuary? Don't forget, I'm teleporting through it. Yeah, it's one again. I wish I would get triple first way on every single melee run I did, but life just isn't fair and all. Talrash's tomb is just a lesson in economic risk taking. Yes, I might die to all the piles of might monsters and curse auras, but I also saved 2 seconds doing this, so seems worth it. Funnily enough, the first save and exit of the entire run doesn't even come from the pile of nonsense in the tomb on the way to the orifice. It's very crowded and I just don't end up finding a great position to work from before getting overwhelmed and having to leave the game. The second attempt teleporting through is as safe as can be expected, so it's once again time for the Duriel fight. For round 3 of this fight, I let the demon bug chase me while throwing frozen orbs at him. On players 8, this fight took forever. I even ended up doing some teleporting despite knowing I really shouldn't. Cause a failed teleport could mean instant death by dump truck, but the allure of teleport is just too enticing. Out of sheer boredom with how long this is taking, I start throwing in some meteors as well. But this fight is a great showcase of why I resisted so long on doing this run. The fights are exactly the same. They just take 4.5 times as long. I'm sorry guys and girls, I know there is a group of players that only plays this way. But I just don't see the charm of doing players 8 only runs. I like changing the player count. With my rant over, Duriel finally hits the floor. He drops a cedar bow and an executioner sword. The sword is sword guard. The damage on this seems very reasonable. It even has 13 resist all and damage to mana to keep things going on the defensive side. But I have a confession to make. I've never, not even once, used this sword. I know it's intended for a barbarian with a shield, but that is like making pasta without cheese. You can do it, but why would you ever? The bow is Kuko Shakaku. It's a fantastic bow, but I'm not an Amazon and I don't want a rogue mercenary. In Act 3 I decide to do some more crafting. The amulet I make is okay, it has a bunch of resistances, but it's lacking in the 2 most important ones, so I won't use it. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, I almost died tonight, as even glimpses of being hit at this point are a massive risk. Not like it will stop me though. About massive risks. In normal, I told you not to teleport into the spiders, so definitely don't do it in hell. I end up landing pixels away from certain death, which works for me. If I had landed just one spider to the left though, that would just be it. No way I'm living that. Deciding to be an adult and ignoring the class I'm playing, I clear out the entire spider cavern route to make sure that I can safely get through it. I've gotten so far at this point, I wouldn't want to risk dying. The rest of the journey through the jungle went about as smooth as a bag of rocks to the face. From casually teleporting past everything to fighting for my life and the git bin. Nothing felt bumpy in this part of the game at all. The ring was ass again by the way, just no luck on quest rewards in this run. The Flayer dungeon is once again simple enough, which brings me to the lower Kurast. I've been dreaming about that Heart of the Oak long enough. I'm not moving on until I get it. I haven't had a high-end runeword on a run since I had a silence on a necro run, which was years ago at this point. The lower Kurast is an amazing place to grind if you can stand the boredom of doing it. It's the fastest way in the game to grind for gold, jewels, item bases, skillers and runes. My first upgrade comes in the form of rolling a Grand Charm of Vita for some additional life. I get a Cryptic Axe rack as well, meaning that I can now just keep farming bases until I hit a 4-socket Cryptic Axe. A 7 Magic Find charm joins the club as well, followed up with a 7 Lightning Resist charm. I just re-roll the bases until I hit the right one. The first roll gets me 3 sockets, but I can just keep retrying as much as I want until I get it. It's just a matter of time. Another rare swirling crystal drops from a chest. At this point though, the game needs to just quit teasing and give me either an Oculus or a Vex rune for the Heart of the Oak. The first skiller I end up finding is a Javelin and Spear skiller. First rune ends up being a Maul rune. Wouldn't really know what to do with this, cause I don't have a base for Prudence, but from now on I'll keep my eyes open for one. Not all runs go as smooth though, sometimes I barely escape a Fanaticism monster pack. My boots get a fantastic upgrade when Set Mesh boots fall from a rack. These are Natalia's boots, some of my favorites in the entire game. I'm willing to go up to 65 strength for 22 cold and 18 lightning resist. With the piles of gems I'm getting, I roll a bow and crossbow skiller. The 4-socket Cryptic Axe ends up happening as well, a big insight upgrade for Hassin's weapon. You can find all sorts of cool rares as well. Case in point are these 308% enhanced damage, increased stack size, 10% increased attack speed flying knives. Can you imagine equipping these at level 48? You will wreck the entire game. Next up, a Foul rune drops, followed up by what I think is the sickest drop of this entire run. An Artisan's Tiara of the Mammoth. A 3-socket helm with 35 life is amazing for so many builds with the right items put in. At this point all I want is the Vex rune, but you can't always get what you want. And even though I tried sometime, I didn't get what I need either. I tried teleporting away from the Fanaticism birds, only to end up right next to a unique Doom Ape that just finishes the job right then and there. Well, I wanted a Vex rune or die trying. Guess I died trying. Thank you to all the channel members and I'll see all of you in the next one.